Hello and welcome to the Restricted Area Podcast, where we break down the week in NBA and WNBA action. As a reminder, you can hear this podcast the day before it can be seen on YouTube by checking out Amazon, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. I'm your host, Alex Perez, joined by producer Colton Smith. How we doing?
Doing good. As I told you before the show, it's been a pretty busy day for me, a pretty busy week, getting back in the swing of things with the games at work. So, uh, yeah, just excited to take a little break and talk some basketball. There's a lot to talk about. The playoffs are starting. We had an insane first day of the play-in yesterday. So, or I guess that's 2 days ago now when y'all are seeing it. But yeah, it's been a really great start to the playoffs. And then WNBA, there's nothing going on, and now all of a sudden everything's going
Oof.
on. So I won't waste any more of our time. I'll let you talk and let's get to it.
Yeah, I didn't have too crazy a week either. There was some arena football that started around here. The Kentucky Barrels that started their
I
inaugural
built
season.
I built that field.
Oh, that's crazy. That was pretty much the highlight of my week. It wasn't much else besides that. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it because we had a busy week in pro hoops. Colton, what stood out to you?
Yeah, I want to get us started just talking about the play-in tournament here and what was a really fun first night. The Heat and the Hornets tipped it off with a absolute southeast showdown between Bam Adebayo, Andrew, or actually Bam got hurt and was
Yeah,
out early, but Andrew Wiggins dropped a nice 27 piece. Davion Mitchell, play-in legend, like Pat Bev was the play-in goat. Davion Mitchell might have snatched his chain with this one. 28 points, 4 of 9 from three. Talk about somebody who shows up when it matters. I would love to see him on a like playoff team, like actually making a deep run. I think that would be really
hmm
cool because of how he clearly, hits another switch. But yeah, Davion Mitchell, Tyler Hero, Andrew Wiggins all drop 20 plus, and they still lose. You go down to the bench and there's not as much scoring there. You go over the Hornets, Melo matched with 30. Brandon Miller dropped a 23 piece. Miles Bridges with 28. Cody White with 19 off the bench. Like, just they had the answers for the Heat, and it came down to the last second. LaMelo Ball with an insane bucket to finish the job.
hmm
So, I mean, that was just an all around fun game. And then the next one, I'll be honest, I had to highlight watch. That was a little past my bedtime, but the Suns and Trailblazers came down to the wire, and the Trailblazers came out on top, securing their 7 seed, which kind of came out of nowhere. We seemed pretty certain that the
yeah.
Clippers would end up in that 8 spot, and they jump up to the 7 seed. They get the privilege of playing the Spurs.
Congratulations.
Enjoy that one game you get at home, but gotta shout out my man Denny Advia. I was definitely early to the train on him, but 41 points in this win, along with 12 assists and 7 rebounds. Uh, I don't even know where to start with that. And then Drew Holiday performing as you would expect a vet to do in the playoffs or playing in this case. 21 points, great game from him. Also, shout out to Jeremy Grant, who this might be like his first ever playoff run. I guess he
Yeah.
was on those Dame teams. He might have been on those Dame teams, but still, it just feels weird. Jeremy Grant and the playoffs, huh? Jalen Green did his thing on the Suns, dropped a 35 piece with Booker getting 22. Dylan Brooks had 20. Like the scoring was there, they just didn't get it done. It felt like both games, either team deserved to win, and just one team had to win. And the Miami and Hornets game even went in overtime to decide that.
Yeah.
So, what'd you think from last night?
I think my best friend summed it up best. He texted me during one of the games and said, "Has there ever been a bad playing game?" And I just texted back, "No," because I can't remember one. Uh, Adam Silver kind of cooks. Turns out when teams close in the standings play each other, they're pretty close. Those are pretty close games, but still don't want to play in. But it's fun. They're fun games. The first game for sure was electric. Besides the maybe he made him trip. Who knows? But anyways, Lamelo Ball played great, and Tyler Hero, the leading all-time scorer in the play-in, if you were wondering, played great as well, and almost won it there at the end. But Lamelo had other plans. Really excited about this Hornets team, as I've pretty much said the whole second half of the season. Hopefully, they get it done in the next one. probably not. But really excited to see them at least win this one. That was a really fun game. And the second one, wow, the Blazers really impressed me. I did not think they would make that much noise in that game. I really thought Phoenix was going to win it. I think I've become too much of a believer in Dylan Brooks, honestly. Maybe that's my problem, but that Phoenix team is tough, and I do not think they're going to lose their eighth spot either. But we will see. It definitely could happen. But yeah, these playoff games have been a lot of fun, and I'm really not mad they're going to stay because these games are at least fun, if nothing else.
Absolutely. And you think about it, the Suns, if they were in the East, they'd probably be like a 3 seed, if we're being honest. I don't know what the exact record is, but they're playing more Eastern Conference teams. They're going to have a better record. I mean, they ended with 45 wins, which is good enough for seventh. I'd be willing to bet they win at least 10 more, not 10, maybe like 5 or 6 more games, just based off of having to get in the face of the Pacers, Wizards, and Nets more than just twice a year. So yeah, but there's my little TED talk.
Really impressive playing game so far. Hopefully the ones tonight match it. Yeah, unfortunately we are filming this on Wednesday, so we'll won't have the results of that. So we'll see how that goes. But the things I wanted to get into are the crazy week that the WNBA has had. In a historically paid free agent class, there was lots of movement. Surprise, surprise. Um, there's really too many teams to talk about, so I brought it down to like a top 3 that it really impressed me in free agency. First, I have New York, the Liberty. Uh, they only made really one big move, but it's the biggest move of free agency so far. They got Satu Sabali. What? I don't know how they're paying all these people, but even with the new CBA, because they now have Natasha Cloud. Well, she still hasn't resigned, but rumors are that she will resign soon. Satu, Stewie, Sabrina, and Jonquel Jones. 2 or 3 of those have won MVP. So a pretty good team, I would say. If it was Atlanta last week, but I think New York has overcome them for the best starting 5 right now in the league. So it's going to be scary to see what they do with their bench. But I'm really impressed so far with what they have done in free agency with their starters. The second I did not think I was going to be saying this, Colton. I can't lie to you. Chicago.
Yeah.
Apparently they heard me. They traded Angel, but they went out and got Skylar Diggins, Azura Stevens, Dejanay Carrington, and Rakia Jackson to pair with Haley Van Lith and Camila Cardoso. I guess they just didn't want to build around Angel, but I digress. Yeah, really impressive stuff that Chicago's doing this offseason. They're really building a competitor. We'll see if management keeps that around for any length of time. But for right now, this is a scary looking team heading into the season. And one I'm really excited about, thought they might make some good moves, and they did not disappoint, was the Dallas Wings, a team that knows they have to build around a star and did so. They got Alana Smith from the Lynx, and Jessica Shepard, also from the Lynx, and 2 key pieces to that Minnesota run last year. 2 huge pieces to that Minnesota run last year, and they already have Paige, and oh yeah, they got that number 1 pick, and they have Arike Gumbawale. So if that's their starting 5, that's going to be a very competitive team and a hard out every week. Do any of those teams kind of stand out to you?
I mean, it's got to be the Sky, right? That's the one I definitely wanted to talk about and circle back to, because was Angel Reese in the way of them doing this anyways? Like, could this team have not been constructed around Angel Reese, or did they just have more confidence in that? Maybe I don't know. Angel Reese can be like somewhat of a ball hog, so maybe they just wanted the. I really can't like explain it, but I can't act like these aren't great moves. Like it's
Right.
definitely Definitely going to be a very interesting season to follow the Sky and what they do. But yeah, I just it's just like we couldn't have done this with Angel Reese. We just had to give the dream, their dream in Angel Reese, and then still build a competent team. Like finally build a competent team, I think is the
Right.
word I'm looking for. Like I don't know. I found that to be really weird. That was definitely my key takeaway.
Yeah, it's very strange. To answer your question, they most definitely could have built that roster around her. Now, with this new CBA, would Angel Reese have expected more money next year? Of course. But these players that they have signed are no scrubs either. They're going to expect more money in the years to come, too. So, will Chicago make the dumb moves that they have in the past or try to keep this roster as together as possible? We will see. Because Haley Van Lith and Camila Cardoso, I'm sure, will expect paydays as well. Hopefully Chicago figures it out because it's better when they're good. But they haven't been that way since their championship in 2021. So good luck to them.
Mm-hmm.
One concern I did want to hit on after free agency, which I did not expect, uh, Minnesota, a team that will already be without Nafisa Collier for at least some of this upcoming season due to her injury, lost their bigs and Bridget Carlton to expansion and Alana Smith, as I just talked about, to the wings.
Mm-hmm.
They also lost Dejanay Carrington, Natisha Heidemann, and Jessica Shepard. Jessica Shepard, someone who was big in filling in that role for Nafisa Collier when she was out. This is no longer a team built to win a championship. And I don't know if there's moves that they can be made maybe at the trade deadline or before the season starts. I don't think there's that many left. And
Yeah.
with a team again that's going to be without their star player, that's very concerning. So maybe they're building for the future, but it's certainly not built for right now at this moment.
Agreed.
And then the second thing I wanted to hit on, there was also another big thing, the WNBA draft, the most paid draft class in history now, was
Mm-hmm.
selected Monday night. And again, I have a top three because there's way too much to try to talk about. So I had to condense myself. The first one I wanted to talk about was Washington. Um, Colton, they're on an OKC level run.
Mm-hmm.
Last year they drafted Georgia A. Moore, Kiki Iriafen, and Sonia Citron, and now they draft national champion Lauren Betts,
Solid player.
her teammate and national champion Angela Dugalik. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. My bad. And Roy Harmon, who was a very solid player, do it all player and guard for the Longhorns. So literally, they hit on every single pick they could, and
Mm-hmm.
they selected other good players too, but those were the top three because they had like 7 picks, like the Thunder have in recent years. So they're definitely at the top of my list. They definitely did the most on draft night. One who didn't make as much noise but had one solid selection was Atlanta. The reason I don't think Atlanta has the top starting lineup anymore is because Brittany Griner went to the Connecticut Sun. Rumors are they're going to be moved to Houston, so she just wanted to be able to go to her hometown.
Mm-hmm.
Understandable. I wish she would have stayed. That would have been a fun team to watch, but nevertheless. But they drafted uh, Okot from South Carolina, who is almost as tall and shoots better than Brittany Griner. Somebody I was really hoping that Indiana drafted, but again, neither here nor there.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta drafted them, and it's a very solid replacement for Griner. She may come off the bench to start, but I will be shocked if she is not starting by the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And then third, I don't know how Chicago makes my list again. They really listened. They drafted do it all guards in Gabriela Jaquez, sister of Jaime Jaquez,
May have heard of
and
her.
Tony Morgan, who is played for the Kentucky Wildcats, and I think will really change the culture in Chicago to where it needs to be. So huge offseason for Chicago, both in free agency and the draft. So shout out to them for I guess watching our podcast and making the
Mm-hmm.
moves that they need to.
Yeah, I can hear him say. I think they must have sat there and said, took that personally, and decided to just turn a corner. And I'm really curious to see how this team plays out. I was a little surprised. Betts kind of slipped down, right? She was kind of seen as number two, and slipped right into the Mystics' hands, who it's really weird hearing Washington and making good decisions in the same sentence, but that's exactly what they're doing. They already had a really great young core in place. We talked about it time and time again over the summer. It didn't quite have the oomph to take the leap, but I don't see how a haul like this I feel like bringing in teammates is definitely a pretty good strategy, especially right fresh out of college. I think that's the best time you could, because they don't lose any time in that chemistry. So there's a level of conformality. Speaking of teammates, I got to ask you about the number 1 overall pick, Azzy.
Yeah, AZ Fudd, is it the best pick they could have made? No. Is it the right pick to make the franchise star happy? Absolutely, it is. She's good enough. I think if you wanted to compare right now, she's like to somebody in the NBA. She's like a Kyrie. So obviously not a shabby player, but like there were better, more dominant bigs that they certainly could have used in Dallas that were picked later. So maybe not the best pick they could have made, but she's definitely not like out of the top 3 or anything. So still a solid pick.
Well, happy wife, happy life, they say. But
That's right.
I mean, you can't tell me this isn't the equivalent of Joe Burrow getting Jamar Chase selected in
That's a
the
good
first
point.
round,
Yeah.
because I won't sit here and say they made the wrong decision, but boy, at the time was I like, wouldn't have minded,
That's a
just
choice. Yeah.
a certain offensive lineman who ended up in Los Angeles and made a couple Pro Bowls. We could have used him in that Super Bowl, but we might not have gotten there without Chase. This isn't a football podcast, though. I think that'll be a pretty fun dynamic, to say the least. There's a lot of people on TikTok that are very happy about this drafting, because they can continue a certain trend they had picked up in UConn. So
That is certainly
yeah.
some chemistry there for sure.
That's what they say. The chemistry, it didn't leave.
You
Is
you
the
mentioned
rumor.
it though, Betts and Awafam from Spain, 2 people who definitely could have been selected earlier. And Minnesota, if you had me select one team that I was confused with their drafting as well and concerned with it, it was Minnesota. Olivia
Mhm.
Miles, let me say this first. Great player. One of the best, one of the top 5 for sure in this draft. You need a big. You just lost Bridget Carlton and Alana Smith, who were huge to the great run you had last season. And you had 2 choices in Awa Fam and Lauren Betts, and you decided to go with neither of them. I understand you're going to need scoring because Nafisa is going to be out for maybe a long time. Hopefully not, but maybe a long time.
Mhm.
Olivia Miles provides that. At some point, you got to think about your future, and I feel like that's what the draft is for. So I think not drafting Fom or Betts is really going to come back to bite them down the road.
Yeah, I would care to agree. I'd say the surprise has been the Sky for me, and uh, on the other end of the spectrum, the disappointment has probably been the Lynx, because I mean, this team was the best team in the WNBA last year, for a large majority of the season. And I don't really see how they're even when they get close. That obviously they're missing their best player, but they also have just kind of been gutted throughout this offseason. And the chances they've had to replace those, they haven't really succeeded at that. So I would be really worried if I was a Minnesota Lynx fan this season, because I don't think we're going to get that. What they even lose 5 games? Like I don't think it's going to be
No,
that simple. There's going to be a new ruler
for sure.
of the sport for sure.
The key moves that they made this offseason were locking down Courtney Williams and Kayla McBride. Smart, but max contracts. I don't know. And they got Natasha Howard from Indiana. So they got one big, but you need more than one. So it's
Mhm.
might look rough in Minnesota this year. But anyways, that'll do it for the storylines. We'll go ahead and move on to our power rankings, where this week we're ranking the top 5 NBA teams who we feel have the best shot at winning the title with the playoffs starting technically on Saturday. We know the play-in is still going on. But with the play-ins, with the playoffs starting on Saturday, Colton, who you got?
I have the New York Knicks as my number 5. This is kind of like the power rankings. And I don't necessarily know if they're the 5th best team right now. I don't know if there's maybe a team or two I would put above them. However, you guys are going to be so screwed financially within the next year, or I think it's literally next year, maybe another year after that. You got to win it this year. So I think
sure.
just based off of that, you better figure it out. But if I were to look at I don't know, the Lakers, I would even say have just as equally a shot. But I'll put New York in here simply based off of the fact that they better. They have sold their soul. They got to pay up now.
Friendship won't pay the players. They'll realize that soon
Yeah,
enough.
for sure. Next up, I got San Antonio Spurs, and I would put them a little higher. I'm sorry, Detroit's probably the other one I should put there. I will admit, Detroit is not on my list.
Okay.
Should they be? It's their first time, and that's the same reason why I have the San Antonio Spurs so low at number 4. Is simply because it is their first time. Very seldom do you see a team in the NBA make it through the gauntlet of the playoffs in their first try. Not even the Thunder, as stacked as they were able to do that. There's just something about having a playoff series or two under your belt that just separates you. But that being said, if there's a team that would, prove I guess the Pacers are an exception to that rule last year. But anywho, I think if there's a team to be transcendent like the Pacers were last year, it would be the San Antonio Spurs. This team has been firing all cylinders as of late. Did have a somewhat ugly loss to the Nuggets, actually a very ugly loss to the Nuggets where their starters were out. But other than that, it's been a pretty smooth second half of the year. Things have looked great. I love the passion that this team plays with. I love that largely stems from the passion that Wemby plays with, and I will be very much tuned in to watch. But you just got to remember, this is their first playoff experience at all. So for a lot of these guys, they do have some vets. De'Aaron Fox has played a series, I suppose, but no, they got Harrison Barnes. They got some other guys on the team. But for the most part, their core players are doing this for the first time. So I expect just a little bit of lag on that. But again, if there's a team that would buck the trend on that, it probably would be this one. At number 3, I have the Celtics because they're the only team in the East that has done it, right? They have Jason Tatum, they have Jaylen Brown, they have pretty good portion of that core intact that won the championship a couple years ago. And so and they've been able to win without arguably their best player, Jason Tatum. It's an argument now after what Jaylen Brown did, but Jason Tatum has come back and fit into this system well, despite the fact that we had some questions about it. Now that's all going to be put on a microscope in the playoffs, of course, but I'm pretty confident in this team's ability. I'm confident in the head coaching, and I guess I'll go on record on saying I think they're going to be the team to make it out of the East, just based off of their experience. I know they have their roster construction isn't perfect, definitely far from what we saw them win a championship with, but I just think the East is so weak. And they've just been able to survive and improve throughout the year that I think they can do it. And I think you were the one that made the point last week. They're literally like top 10 and like they're not top 5 in any stat, but they're like top 10 in most stats or something like that.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So it's just an interesting kind of it'll be an interesting team. So got them number 3, but here are the 2 teams, and I think this will be the Western Conference Finals. Well, I guess it can't. Yeah, it can be the Western Conference Finals. I think it'll be the Western Conference Finals, which will probably end up being the finals, regardless of if it's these 2 teams or not. You have the Denver Nuggets. I'll put at number 2. Talk about a team that woke up one day and was like, all right, it's time to start playing like we're playing the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
12 wins in a row to wrap up the season, including an impressive win against the Spurs with their bench playing the majority of that game. Hey, the Nuggets with Bruce Brown on that team is a completely different team. That's all 100%. I'm saying. You can see the night and day difference from last year to this year. But I'm not even joking. I'll never forget when Bruce Brown won them one of those games against the Heat. I know they swept them or 5-gamed them, but like Bruce Brown is actually a really huge piece. But like obviously Jokic, Murray, those guys are looking outstanding, and I always love watching these guys play playoff ball. I know they half-assed it throughout the year, but now it's time to flip that switch, and I always love seeing teams like that flip the switch. OKC, I don't even have to explain it. I don't have to sit there and give you the spiel. Like they never, they what for 3 weeks maybe they were like, oh, half our team's hurt, so we will lose some games, and
Yeah.
then they just started winning again, and here we are, number 1 seed. By all means, should be the championship favorite, but that's why we play the games, because you never know what could happen. I do think the Nuggets will have something for them. I think that series will be cinema. I think if the Nuggets don't get there, that means probably the Spurs got there, and that series will be cinema. So I think regardless, we are set for a really fun playoffs. But that's my 5 teams, and I would amend a you could say a 6th for the Detroit. I just think it's a little early. I think those are the 5 to 6 teams that could win it all.
I like it. I honestly, with that logic and reasoning, want to rewrite my whole list, but I will give you my naive one that apparently doesn't know ball. Mine starts with 5. It is Boston. I think they have outperformed all expectations this season, and I don't think anybody would be surprised they at least made the finals. Because they have that, like you said, the core intact, and the East is pretty even all around this year. So I could definitely see them at least putting themselves at a 50-50 shot of winning it all. 4, I do have Detroit. Defense wins in the playoffs, and Detroit just had the best defense all season, in my opinion. Cade health, Cade's health scares me, or I might have them higher because who knows what he looks like right now. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if he even gets to play every game. But Detroit is at my number 4. Number 3 is Denver. My preseason pick to win it all. I do think they do have the best roster, the players that have been there, but I just think there's 2 behemoths at the top of the West that might get in their way. And number 2, I have OKC. Been the best team all season, but their also scares me. If any of those players go down, they become a completely different team. So that could get ugly. And number 1, I do have the Spurs. I think they've been in OKC shadow all season, and I think they're ready to prove themselves as a team that could compete at this level, no matter how young they are or inexperienced they are. So this list may just be going off vibes, but right now I have the Spurs at my top team that could win the title this season.
Hey, I'm rooting for them. If there's a team on here I'm rooting for, it's probably them or anybody but OKC. Sorry,
Yeah,
Logan.
I really should be concerned about Vic's health in these playoffs too, because it gets way more intense. But not putting that bad juju out there. So we will go ahead and move on with our NBA pick'em, where we this week are discussing each first round matchup and as best we can with the play in not being done. So we will go with the series so far that have been decided, and then go with those hypothetical potential matchups. The first one I have is the number 3 seed in the East, the Knicks versus the number 6 Hawks. What do you got, Colton?
So I've been on the Hawks train for quite a while now. I think we both have.
Mm-hmm.
And I really want to sit here and say that the Hawks are going to win this one in 6, but I just don't. I think they'll push it to 6, but I think the Knicks will be the victors on this one. Mostly because the Knicks have to. The Knicks have, again, sold their soul to get where they're at right now. They got to win this series. There's no way they lose another series to a Hawks team that is outperforming, playing out of their shoes a little bit. To be fair, I think the Hawks should be in the 4-5 seed. They lost that, unfortunately, but which in that case, I'll tell you right now, I would have gone the Hawks in that series. But regardless, I just gotta. I shouldn't. Like, it's not a good reasoning, but I just feel like the Knicks gotta at least win in the first round with this team they've constructed. Right?
Right.
They make it look ugly sometimes, but yeah, I'll take them in 6.
My question is there any bad blood still there from the old playoff rivalry? I don't know. Maybe not with.
Is Jalen
Trae Young
Johnson
being
going to
there.
be like Trae Young or something?
Yeah.
Or CJ McCollum dropping a 40-piece, just pissing off all of New York? That would be legendary. I hope so.
That would be so good. But as you talked about. I really was hoping the Dogs would end up playing the Cavs because that would have been a terrific series. I do think this one still ends up being terrific. Uh, so I guess Atlanta's going to have to prove themselves in this one instead of against Cleveland because I do have Atlanta winning here. I think the Knicks just rely on too many players, and in the playoffs, it's about concise lineups, in my opinion,
Hmm.
that are ready and able to always produce. And the Knicks just haven't been that much this season, and they've definitely went on spurts that have gone ugly. And as we all know, the defense ratchets up in the playoffs, and I think the Hawks are one of the best defenses in the league. So I think because of that, I think the Hawks win in six.
Can you imagine saying the Hawks being one of the best defenses in the league like a couple months ago? Even like
Right.
it's true, and the intensity that they were playing with those last couple regular season games, I think that is going to punch the Knicks in the mouth. I really think I probably should just side with you and take the Hawks here, but something tells me the Knicks just got to pull this one out. I just feel it, got a feeling on it, but yeah, the Hawks are impressive, and I'm really excited if they can keep this core intact to see what they do next year.
I would not be surprised because the Hawks still have to play at Madison Square Garden and they're a little inexperienced. But
Hmm.
I guess maybe I'm just a little biased here. Anyways, the next one I have is the number 4 seed in the East, the Cavs, versus the number 5 Raptors. Colton, what you got?
Yeah, so I've had the Cavs on upset watch for a while. I don't think the Raptors are the team to do it. Like they could,
Mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't sit here shocked. But this is also their first go around. Yeah, pretty much everyone on this team's first go around at a playoff series. So I just don't foresee them. And plus, you got James Harden and Donovan Mitchell. James Harden, well known playoff performer, but I think he'll be able to muster it up for this series at least. And I don't know. I think there's always a chance, obviously, and I definitely see the path for the Raptors, but I'm just not going to go on here and say it. If they end up flipping this series on the Cavs' head, that would be probably more an indictment on the Cavs and impressive on the Raptors. But I'm gonna go take the safe chalk option and take Cleveland and 6, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, the Raptors have Ingram and Scotty Barnes, two great performers, and I can't wait to see how they perform in the playoffs. But I think the playoffs are about big playmakers, and Donovan Mitchell, certainly that, especially in the playoffs. He's proved that. And James Harden, he's played in the most playoff games without winning a championship, so he's got at least got that for him. He's been in a lot of these things, and I'm sure this season will be a season that he really wants to break that narrative. Is it really that impressive to beat the 5 seed Raptors? I don't know, but at least in this series, I see him making big plays down the stretch, and I really don't think this series is necessarily close. I have the Cavs in 5 in this one.
Fair enough.
And the next one is maybe the one I'm most excited for in this first round. The number 3 seed in the West, the Nuggets, versus number 6
Mm-hmm.
Timberwolves. What you got?
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you right now, this game's going to 7. I really don't know who. I'm gonna go with the team that I just think is the better team, and that's the Nuggets. But I cannot discount Ant. That dude
Mm-hmm.
is something else. It feels really weird kicking him out in the first round, but I just think this Nuggets team is too hot right now. Whew, that's definitely the best series by far in the first round.
Yeah, this is cinema. That's all you can say about this series. A couple questions I have for this series is who guards Jokic, who guards
Mm,
Ant, does Gobert get exposed on the perimeter again, and do we get playoff Murray? And I believe the questions that face the Timberwolves are too big, and the Nuggets will figure it out because they have that playoff experience. Obviously, the Timberwolves do too, but
mhm.
the Nuggets, I just think, are a better constructed roster to make a deep run in these playoffs. And it's unfortunate that the Timberwolves have to play this in the first round because they could also make a deep run. But yeah, give me the Nuggets in this one. I also have it going 7. So give me Denver in 7. And
Man, if they would have
then
made a 4-5, the 4-5 game and had a Lakers or Rockets, then Ant going up against
hallelujah.
the yeah, hallelujah for you. Uh then Ant potentially in a second round matchup against Shea. We got to get a series of Ant and Shea at some point. Like that, I understand the Thunder are just like so much better than the Timberwolves, but I don't think Ant cares. That is a pure hatred series for Ant, and I would love to see that.
With the outlook on the playoffs for the Lakers this year, I might not have been even mad at that. But leads us right into our next series, which is the number 4 seed in the West, the Lakers, versus the number 5, the Rockets. Colton, what you got?
I have this series going to 7 as well. I know the Lakers are severely undermanned, and it's probably a hot take because I think the Lakers could just put up a dud with how undermanned they are, but for some reason I got them winning in 7. I feel like LeBron's got at least one more legendary series in him, and I think this might be the very one. I think the Rockets are the most fraudulent team I've ever watched in my life. Like, they're great. They are a great team, but you can just see the cracks every time you watch them play. I remember the Lakers recently played them when they beat them back to back, and just both times, like, Rockets really should be winning this game, but the Lakers are just winning it because the Rockets just don't. I think there's some team chemistry issues from some of the stuff I've seen, and overall, I just don't think this team ever really they play great, but I don't think they ever really found their stride as a team. And I think because of that, the Lakers with LeBron James and Luke Kennard and whoever the hell else, Jackson Hayes and DeAndre Ayton, it's a stacked squad. I just think we get one more LeBron in the Misfit Island of Misfit Toys getting the win, just like he started off his career in Cleveland. So give me the Lakers in 7.
I'd like to make a caveat. If Luka plays, the Lakers win. I don't think he plays much of the series, though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I do have the Rockets actually winning a close series. I have them winning in 6. I think the Lakers will get kicked in the tail in the paint, especially DeAndre Ayton doing himself no favors, going after Mr. Capella. So that's tough defense is not what DeAndre Ayton thrives against. So I'm not really excited to see how this paint story
excels
goes.
at.
That too. So really excited to see how the Lakers play defense and don't. But LeBron ain't letting the team go outside. That's for sure. So I think they at least push it to 6. I think that 6 game will be close, but I think the experience and the star power of the Rockets gets it done where we don't have Austin Reeves or Luka for, I don't think, all these games either.
Mm-hmm.
And then the one we do have decided from the play-in games is the number 2 seed in the West, the Spurs, versus now the number 7 seed Blazers. Colton, who you got?
I think it's pretty cut clean here. Give me the Spurs to take this one. I'll give the Blazers a Deni Avdija 40-point game, but I think the Blazers will probably keep every game close. They just have that kind of identity of keeping games close, but the Spurs will find their way on top of each and every one of
them. The Spurs may win this one in 3. Game 4, I think, is going to end up on Nickelodeon. I'm really excited to see how Wemby plays in this playoff action, but the Blazers are a solid team. We've watched them all season. They really held their own, but they're running into a buzzsaw in this one. I have the Spurs winning in a sweep. And now let us get to the hypothetical ones. OKC versus either the Suns, the Clippers, or the Warriors. Do you have OKC losing in any of those?
I have them losing a game to the Clippers or Warriors, and then sweeping, or they probably sweep any of them, but sweeping the Suns. So, yeah, give me OKC.
I think if we had to endure OKC versus the Warriors, it would relegate the Warriors to the G League. That team is just not built to be in the playoffs. Nobody wants to see that. That would be very ugly. OKC versus the Clippers is fun. Clippers win 1 at most. The Suns, they may be competitive for 1 and sneak out 1, but again, nobody's beating this behemoth in the first round. It's just these teams are just not going to get it done. I hope it's the Clippers because I think that would be the most fun, but no matter who it is, it's not going to be a long series.
Mm.
And then we have the Celtics versus either Philly or Orlando. Who you got?
I got Philly. Philly poses a big threat. I know I said
Hmm.
that the Celtics are my favorite team in the East, but I think they, as easily as they could win the Eastern Conference, they could lose it in the first round, especially if this Philly team is healthy. If Embiid will give them many a problems. Paul
Hmm.
George, it's playoffs, so I don't expect anything on him. Tyrese Maxey, though, will also be a problem. I don't think Jalen Brown will have any problems guarding him, but also Maxey is just unguardable, so he can maybe slow him down a time or two, but he'll never stop him. So I still lean the Celtics, I guess, just because I'm feeling chalk. But I will say, if there's an upset that happens in this first round, it'll be the Sixers knocking off the Celtics. Don't forget though, the Magic gave the Celtics some. That was the Magic, I think, gave the Celtics some fits
Hmm.
last year in the playoffs as well. So the Magic matches up. They are a pretty decent matchup. They're good at guarding the 3 point, and that's exactly how the Celtics score. So I don't know if this is the same Magic team that could do that, but at the end of the day, it was an impressive showing last year. But I think the Sixers are the team that the Celtics should be more worried about for sure.
Uh, I pretty much agree with all that. I think the size of Orlando and Philly bring problems for the Celtics. Uh, Orlando, obviously, Wendell Carter and Bankero, and then Philly, just the beast that is Joel Embiid. So I'd be very excited to see that series. The guards for Philly scare me a lot more than the guards for Orlando do, but I think either of these teams would win 2 games in this series. I do not think, obviously, by that they win those series. I think the Celtics still come out on top, but I do think either of these series will be at least interesting.
Hmm.
So I'm excited to watch those for sure. And then the last, oh yeah, Celtics in 6 in both of those. And the last one I have is the Pistons versus either Charlotte, Philly, or Orlando.
Yeah, in any one of those cases, I'll give the other team like one win. But the Detroit takes the series. This team is, with their defense, well set for the playoffs, and it's going to take a better, more experienced team to defeat them. And maybe the Sixers are the only team you could argue is more experienced, but I'm not going to argue they're better. Cade Cunningham's injury certainly is alarming, but I think they'll be fine for the first round.
Yeah, it's like we copied each other's notes. I think each of these teams at least wins one, no matter who it is. But I think the guards of Philly get 1 game. If it's Orlando, I think the defense mucks it up enough to win a very defense heavy game.
Hmm.
And then Charlotte, I think, gets one because LaMelo Ball goes crazy against the Cade Cunningham that may be at 50%, 60%. Who knows what he's at right now.
Yeah.
So I think they at least get 1 game, but we've seen that they can even win without Cade. So I don't think they're too worried about this first round series at all. So yeah, give me the Pistons in any of these series in 5 games. And now it is time for our shooting star, where we pick our baller of the week. Golden, who you got?
I got a little known player called Aja Wilson signing the, let me check my notes here, largest contract in WNBA history, 3 years, 5 million. Much deserved to the multi-time MVP, multi-time champion,
Mm-hmm.
best player in the league right now. Well deserved, and well, some could even argue she deserves more. But she's dating Bam, so he can give her some that she deserves. He's making plenty of money there in Miami, so yeah, shout out Asia. You know, well deserved, and just kind of highlighting the improvement in the pay that we're getting, the milestones that are being moved thanks to this new agreement. So that's WNBA players as a whole definitely are the ballers of the week, but
Mm-hmm.
Asia definitely caps that.
Yeah, multi-time defensive player of the year as well.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
She, her contract is fascinating because she's earning the max contract of 1.4 million this year, and then she has a deal in place where she earns uh, at least more than that next season and the season
Hmm.
after. She gets 20% of their overall salary cap. Don't know how that deal was in place, but her agent's about to get paid too. So shout out both of them. That is a very interesting but well-deserved contract that she is getting because she's going to go down as the GOAT if she's not already the GOAT. Mine is also WNBA. Mine is the whole WNBA Players Association, not only for the CBA. Well, I guess this is part of the CBA, so yeah, it is. But in the new CBA, they made a motion to pay retired players a one-time payment based on years played. So for people, so 30K for retirees with 5 to 7 years of service, 50K for 8 to 11 years of service, and 100K for 12 plus years of service. So just a really awesome thing that they did for the vets that went before them. So not only are these players clearing a path for the future, but they're also paving the road of the ones who went before them. So I just really commend them for the efforts they've made in recognizing not only themselves and the players that are yet to come, but the players who they built this legacy on and are able to have this moment because of.
Yeah, that's a really sweet deal. I don't think any other player associations getting that deal done.
Yeah, definitely not. And I'm sure they are very great. Those retirees are very grateful for that as well. Much deserved. But yeah, that will do it for this extended episode of the Restricted Area podcast. Make sure to, well, thank you, Colton, for being on the show. Make sure to follow the YouTube, the show's YouTube at CX Restricted Area. Follow the CX crew on all socials at CX Pod Network. You can follow me on Twitter at The Wheel Deal and Colton at Colt_45. That's 3 T's, by the way. Thank you all for listening and watching. And until next week, like Doc Rivers' schedule, be smooth.